Welcome to Beyond Bridge, the podcast where courage meets community. We shine a light on the stories, science, and support that define the breast cancer journey. From survivors and thrivers to doctors and advocates, we're here to share real conversations, expert insights, and the hope that carries us forward. Whether you're newly diagnosed, a lifelong fighter, or walking alongside someone you love, this is your space, your voice, and your story. Welcome to Bridge. Today, we're going to be talking to Leonese, who is a breast cancer survivor and thriver. And we're also going to be talking with Shelly Taylor, who is also a breast cancer survivor and thriver. Yep. But today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, and that is the support that survivors and thrivers receive from those people who are important to them. So, Leonese, let me start with you. Share with us a little bit about your story in terms of breast cancer, and then I want to talk to Shelly about how she supported you.
I was diagnosed in 2023, and in October, so it was a whirlwind for me. And so Shelly was already experienced with the whole October rounds of events. And so she kind of got with me and took me through a couple of them. And I was just extremely overwhelmed. But it was so, and this is before I even started treatment. But it was just great to be able to have her to really hold my hand and just kind of show me, you're going to be okay. See, look at all these wonderful people. You're going to be fine.
And Shelly, you are a survivor and a thriver as well. Tell us a little bit about your journey with breast cancer.
Well, I was diagnosed in June of 2015. I thought my world was going to end because in the circle that I was around, I was one of the first people in our circle to have it. And so it was devastating. I remember telling friends that if something happens to me, make sure my girls are, make sure my kids are taken care of, because I didn't know. I had never been down this road before. And so at that point, I just decided to let my faith take over. I remember going to church. I remember going to church on a Wednesday before I was supposed to have my first treatment. And there were probably about 30 women there. We were just praying. They were praying over me. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Because what kind of person would I be to say, I believe with God, but I'm scared of this? And so at that point, I put on my pink boxing gloves and I said, let's get it. And that's what we did.
Wow. So we've got two friends. How long have y'all been friends?
36 years. Yes, 36
okay,
years.
So you all have been in each other's space a long time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Shelly, you got breast cancer first, mm-hmm. and then Leonese is diagnosed years later. So what did you do for her? What did you share with her as a support? And I know all breast cancer survivors and thrivers need support. So What did you do for her and with her?
I think for her and I mainly wanted to instill I call her Nene, so she's Nene to me. But I wanted to instill in her that, listen, let your faith lead you. Let your faith lead you. And basically that your faith has to be bigger than what we're going through. And that's kind of how we did it. Like when she was going through, when she was sick, there were times when we didn't say anything. I was just there if she needed me. And she knew that. And I wanted my story was a little different than hers and she had a sister that had experienced it as well. And her story was still different than ours. And so I wasn't sick. Like I would take treatment and go to work the next day. I never was sick. And so she had her sister who, was in the hospital and sick. So she had both ends of the spectrum from both of us. And so, like I said, everybody's road is a little different. And her road was a little different than mine, but I just wanted to instill in her to see herself on the other side of this. If you can see yourself on the other side of it, then you can get through it. It's the through that you have to make sure that you can get through.
So, Leonese, she reached out to you. How did you receive that? And let me share with you what I mean by that. There are times when we are going through devastating diagnoses, and we know, I think, intellectually that we need some support, some hand-holding, someone to undergird us, but we don't know how to ask for it. Mm-hmm. We're afraid to do that. Mm-hmm. How did her support help you, and how did you navigate that road with her?
Well, and I guess that's where our relationship is unique, because we already had a relationship of so much depth at that time that, frankness, honesty, kind of feeling and seeing what each other might need was there. And so it was just automatic for her. I think it was, I kind of felt like it was just automatic. She could, immediately look at me and see that something was going on, that my mind was turning, and, it was like she would know when to try to help me pivot so that I wouldn't stay in a psychological space that would, take me to the depths that I did not want to go to. Yeah. And it just came organically. I didn't have to ask, she just automatically check up on me. And the interesting thing about it is that, as Shelly mentioned, when she first was diagnosed, she was the first in our group of friends to be diagnosed. And so nobody knew how to support Shelly through this. And so Shelly just forged forward. And so, we thought about things that we could do to try and make things better for her. But she really forged forward. And I did not quite understand that until I was diagnosed. And I realized how she could provide me support versus other friends who couldn't provide me the same type of support. And it was such a realization to me. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't there for her. Like, she's here for me, but I didn't beat myself up about it because I couldn't be. If you don't have the experience, you just don't know. And which is why I encourage so many people to find a support group, find a group of friends or a group of people who have been through this process to talk to. You don't have to cry all the time when you get together. It doesn't always have to be a down session, but you'd be surprised what you learn and how encouraged you become just by communicating with others going through the same thing.
We like to say, she's in a different sorority than I'm in, and this is a sorority that no one wants to be a part of. But because we are a part of it, we're going to make the best of it. Because cancer does not have us.
Yes.
It doesn't define us. And so this is a sorority that, she's my best friend. If I'm going to have to go through this thing called life and through this thing called breast cancer survivor and thriver, why wouldn't I want to go through it with her? So it's a special type of bond that we share that not a lot of people can share. She's my breastie.
I like that. So I heard you say that you were the first in your circle of friends that was diagnosed. Is your biological sister a part of that circle or?
No.
Okay. So you were the first. Were you second? Have there been others that have gone through it?
There's been.
That's the problem.
Yeah. In this 10-year span, there's probably been 6 in our group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they say 1 out of 8, we kind of look at them like, we think it's a few more than that, but okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So you were the first, Shelly. Okay. And no one knew how to support you.
No. I mean, I had I never went to a breast cancer treatment by myself. So there was a sign up for that. When I rang the bell, I had 16 treatments. When I rang the bell, the people at the in the chemo place said, no one has ever came here and had this many people. I had like over 30 people there when I rang the bell. And I think because no one knew how to support, they wanted to make sure they were there. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
So what would you say to other women? You said you were the first. Okay. If you had a cheat sheet, so to speak, a checklist, what would you say, or what would you put on that checklist for women who should be or want to, want to support someone who has cancer but doesn't know how? What would you put on that list? What would be your top 3 things or your top 5 things that you may put on that list?
Wow.
Always bring good energy.
Oh my gosh.
Always.
Energy.
Bring good energy.
And sometimes you don't have to bring words. Sometimes just your being there, just your presence is all. Because sometimes when you're going through, I remember going through chemo, there were times where I tried to stay up because there were people there and I wanted to be hospitable. And, there were times they had to say, just close your eyes. Just go to sleep. We're here. We got you. And so I would say, sometimes you don't have to bring words. Just your person, just you, your energy is good.
So sometimes being silent in the presence. Did I know I've heard of other support groups or other supporters bringing in, or not bringing in, but creating food trains.
I had that too.
You did that too?
They did it for me.
Did it for you? Okay. All right. So you're both on the other side.
Yes.
On the other side. And I'm looking at your faces, and both of you are just smiling ear to ear because you seem like, I beat this.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Shelly, and then I'm going to ask you, Leonese, what would be one thing that you would share with a supporter that they could do for a friend or a survivor? One thing that would help in that journey to help them navigate where they are.
I have become a proponent on journaling.
Okay.
Write down, even when it's a good day, when it's a bad day, just journal. Write it down so that you can come back and see your growth. See how God brought you through it. See how when you were having those bad days, how God brought you through it, and let that be your encouragement to keep going.
And so, Leonese, I want to ask you, being on the receiving end of that support, of that love, what would you say to someone who's going through? What should their attitude be like? What should their acceptance be like, so to speak? What should that look like?
So that's a great question because I am a personality. I'm not sure which one it is, A, B, or C, but I like to make sure things are taken care of. I like to make sure we plan and we execute that plan. Well, when you're in a situation where you're sick, you really have to learn to relax. And all that time that you spend pouring into other people, it is your turn to sit down and just allow them to pour into you. And the way I had to look at it was, they're wanting to get their blessings by pouring into you. Stop trying to block their blessings by continually saying you're okay, or I don't need anything, or no, I'm good. No, you're not good. You might need something. You might need some water, whatever it is. But allow people to serve you after you serve them for all this time. And that was a tough one for me. But, it takes getting knocked down to sometimes where you don't have any choice but to lay there and allow people to serve you. And then I had to just kind of lean into it and let it work.
I take from that there is grace in the giving, and there's also grace in the acceptance and the gratitude.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right, Leonese Spann, thank you for being with us. And Shelly Taylor, I want to thank you for being with us as well.
Thank you.
I do appreciate y'all joining us here on The Bridge. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks again for all you're doing.
Yes.
Beyond Bridge, a place of strength, support, and shared stories. If the conversation touched your heart, be sure to share it with someone walking this journey. And always remember, you are not alone. God walks with you, even in the valleys. Lean on his promises, trust his timing, and never lose hope. Until next time, may you be covered in grace, filled with courage, and surrounded by love. I am Jacqueline Anthony. For all of us at Bridge, thanks for joining the conversation.